Okay, there is something that's been keeping me up at night for a long time. And it's something that not a lot of people are talking about. There hasn't been virtually any attention paid to it in the federal government in Ottawa, and it probably affects you. This is a big deal. Nobody's talking about it. Now, Parliament is returning to Ottawa today. MPs are back in Ottawa for the start of the fall session. I just want to remind you that this is the first session of Parliament where Bill C-18 is in effect. And Bill C-18, of course, is Justin Trudeau's censorship bill. So you're probably not going to see a lot of news on social media platforms because of this bill. So it's really important for you to subscribe to sources so that people like me can directly communicate with you. So I've talked about this crisis that I'm really worried about. I actually wrote a long form piece about it. It's got all the details. I'm going to be talking about it in this video. The link's in the video description. It's really important that you click subscribe. It's free so that I can communicate with you about these issues that might not be getting mainstream media attention, but they really should be. Now, this is a really, really big deal. Back in January, so almost a year ago, I wrote this piece about what I think is a really big crisis in the auto loans industry. So there are a bunch of lenders that have been lending money to people where they're upside down on their car loans. So that means that their loan on their car is more than what the car is worth. Many of you are probably in this situation. Since January, the situation has only gotten worse because of interest rate hikes. And also, there's things that the government hasn't considered, like new electric vehicle regulations that might depreciate existing stock that a lot of these loans are on. So let's say you've got a gas-powered car, you don't have an electric vehicle, and you're upside down or you're underwater on your loan already. What happens in 2 or 3 years? Now, this isn't just a problem for you or for your neighbor or somebody who's in this situation. This is a problem for the auto loans industry, banks and other lenders that have exposed themselves to risk by over leveraging types of loans. So, you can think about a lender having some issues if all of their loans are, at 160 or 170% of the value of the asset, and they haven't, there's structural issues in whether or not people are going to be able to pay these loans. There's a lot of risk. Where have we heard this before? This, of course, sounds a lot like the housing crisis in 2008, for those of you who remember that, which triggered a global recession. Now, all I'm saying is that this is a huge issue that nobody has been writing about. It's a huge problem. It's a huge risk. I wrote about it in January. The link's in the video description. Click subscribe onto this newsletter. It is free. It's the only way I can communicate with you with Bill C-18, one of the best ways I can communicate with you. But at the time in January, people were like, oh, aren't you being a little alarmist? Well, hello. News yesterday. What does it say here? BMO to shutter retail auto finance business as bad debt amounts. So the Bank of Montreal, BMO, has said, oh, auto loans, that's a little risky, guys. How exposed are Canada's banks and other auto loan industries? How exposed are they to risk? Why hasn't the federal government talked about this? How is this going to impact you? What does it mean for your auto loan, your capacity to buy a car, particularly with interest rates being so high and inflation being so high? The other thing I wrote about in January, if you read through this, please read this. This is such an important read. It also talks about how the price of a car has, and I know many of you have gone through this. I've gone through this, trying to figure out how to replace a car that doesn't work. The cost of a car has almost doubled in a very short period of time. And that's due to a bunch of significant structural issues that the government also hasn't addressed. Again, I outline all of this in this article. Links in the video description. It is free. When you click subscribe, it allows me to communicate with you in spite of Justin Trudeau's censorship bills. What does all of this mean? It's really important that you share this video and you share the article above, because these are the issues that, because Justin Trudeau has mismanaged so many parts of the economy, he's got so many scandals, so many irons in the fire, he's not able or even looking at long-term issues like this, right? These are structural issues that could really affect the entire Canadian economy, but also affect people like you, right? How many people do you know are upside down on a vehicle loan right now? I bet you know somebody. It probably even is you, right? And that's just the reality of the economic crisis and the cost of living crisis that virtually every Canadian is living in right now. right? These are the types of issue that Parliament should be looking at now that we've returned to the House of Commons this September. But because Justin Trudeau has so many political fires, so many scandals, he's mismanaged so many different aspects of government. Do you think this is going to come up in any of his speeches? Probably not. And yet it should. Like, this is this massive, frothy, bubbly financial risk. And yet nobody's talking about it. There's like one article about BMO pulling out of the auto loans industry due to bad debt. So guys, I just want to reemphasize this, and you're going to hear me talk about this. I commit to you. I work hard here in Ottawa to try and bring these issues to the attention of the government, to hold the government to account. But Bill C-18, because Bill C-18 blocks news from being on social media, Justin Trudeau's censorship bills, it is so important for you guys to subscribe to news sources that you trust, local journalism. Get out there so that you can directly receive information from them. And it's a small loophole in this bill. On my part, I am writing to you about these issues. These issues will come to you in your inbox. And it's more work for me, but the Canadian public has to understand and speak up on these issues. That's how we fight Justin Trudeau's mismanagement of government. So click on the video description. This is an important article. It was written in January, guys. Click on it, share it, click subscribe. It allows me to directly communicate with you. And there's going to be a lot of stuff I am going to be talking to you about in the next, particularly in the next few weeks. I've got order paper questions coming back that I put in the summer that I'm going to be sharing with you, that the government will has a right to, they have a responsibility to get back to me on. There's committee work that I'm going to be doing that I want to share with you. But again, we have to get around Justin Trudeau's censorship bill. Click on the link in the video description, read the article, click subscribe. It's free. I'm going to the House of Commons. And I'm going to debate legislation, hold Justin Trudeau to account, and try to bring really important issues like this to the forefront. This is the stuff Parliament should be seized with, guys. It's crazy. Ugh. Lots of work to do. Working hard for you in Ottawa. Have a great day.